Hello, this is the TradeSite Forex Market Preview and International Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, October 27th, 2019, ending Friday, November 1st, as we then head into the U.S. time change next weekend. Remember, different time changes happen around the world, different times, and so that shifts different countries an hour off of where they've been for 6 months or so with the other countries. So it does have an impact. We'll look at some of this in the calendar in a minute, but again, that can have an impact on especially Mondays or Sunday night Mondays to start the week. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart. Bouncing back a little bit this week after the sell-off the week and a half before. It is what it is. We did make some money. It wasn't super exciting. Let's go through the major daily charts of the pairs. Euro dollar, the inverse of the dollar index, as it always is lately. Pound dollar, didn't used to be that way, by the way. Pound dollar pulled back a bit as well after the bigger surge. A lot going on there with Brexit and the votes, and we're down to the last week. Aussie dollar, pretty flat. Not much going on there. Euro yen, dead flat this week. Pound yen, a little, well, also very flat, let's face it. Pound Swiss, nothing there at all in the New Zealand dollar pair. Did nothing. All right, in terms of intraday or intra-month, intra-week, whatever action, right, here's the euro dollar. 30-minute candles, high to low for the week is 110 pips, so it's pretty pathetic. And this is something that makes it very hard to trade, obviously. The pound dollar high to low for the week is 220 pips, so more stock and a little more movement there. We had a couple winners that carried over a couple days without any triggers. It's kind of a weird environment overall, but it is what it is. So you can't really get around that, and we're just kind of stuck looking at whatever from that point forward. All right, in terms of economic data for the week ahead, let's take a look at that here. Sunday, we got a bank holiday in New Zealand, SPPI out of Japan. Monday, German import-export prices at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, N3 money supply out of Europe, and private loans at 5 a.m. CBI realized sales at 7 a.m. Goods trade balance from the U.S. along with preliminary wholesale inventories at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, an hour before the stock market opens. We've got Tokyo Core CPI out of Japan Monday night. We've got nationwide HPI out of the UK going into Tuesday. Money supply and mortgage approvals, net lending to individuals out of the UK. S&P housing price index at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got consumer confidence at 10. Pending home sales at 10. We've got retail sales 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday night out of Japan. CPI out of Australia. French flash GDP and German preliminary CPI. French consumer spending. Spanish CPI. We've got German unemployment change. Credit Suisse economic expectations. Italian 10-year bond auction. ADP non-farm employment change at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. Advanced GDP an hour before the bell. That's one of our big three. That's a big one. That's not one of our big three because it's not every month, but that's the first look at GDP for the third quarter. So that is a big number. We got to be half size ahead of that. Usually causes a move in the market. And then on top of it, that same day, you got a Bank of Canada and the U.S. Fed rate announcements. So definitely going to be half size ahead of Wednesday between that the advanced GDP number and rate announcements in Canada here in the U.S. We got building consensus out of New Zealand, preliminary industrial production out of Japan. We've got UK consumer confidence, Australia's building approvals, import-export prices, private sector credit, China's manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI numbers. We've got a rate announcement out of the Bank of Japan the same night, so US, Canada, and now Japan. Consumer confidence out of Japan, housing starts out of Japan. German retail sales, French preliminary CPI, Spanish flash GDP, Italian monthly unemployment rate, European CPI and flash estimate, Italian preliminary CPI, the European unemployment rate at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, Italian preliminary GDP, challenger job cuts here in the U.S. Canada's got their GDP, RMPI, and IPPI. U.S. has personal income and spending. We've got employment cost index, core PCE price index, initial and continuing jobless claims. Those are all an hour before the stock market opens at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday. Chicago PMI at 9:45, natty gas at 10:30. AIG manufacturing index out of Australia Thursday night. Japan's unemployment rate, Australia's PPI, Japan's final manufacturing PMI, China's Caixin manufacturing PMI, and then Australia's commodity price index, French and Italian bank holiday for Friday, CPI and retail sales out of Switzerland overnight, manufacturing PMI out of Switzerland, manufacturing PMI out of the UK. We've got the unemployment rate here in the U.S. So these are one of our big three. So we'll be half size ahead, again, ahead of Friday, in addition to ahead of Wednesday. Canada's manufacturing PMI, U.S. manufacturing, ISM, and final PMI numbers, construction spending, the Ward total vehicle sales, and some Fed members speaking. So there's a lot of data. There's some major rate announcements as we wind down into the holidays here soon. And then we've also got the time change, which isn't actually listed here. It should be next weekend here in the U.S. Charts as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great trading week.